Hello everyone and welcome to this month's market report for the property market in Lecrin Valley, Orgiva and Lanjaron. As usual, we'll have a look at the facts and figures and the statistics involved around the property market in these locations, and also look at the wider property news. There's been some quite interesting developments this month, so there's plenty to talk about. First, let's have a look at the statistics. In Orgiva last month, there were 85 properties available for sale, with an average asking price of around €252,000 or around €1,400 per square metre. This is a slight drop on previous months, and we'll talk about this in a bit more detail later. Looking at Lanjaron last month, there were 99 properties available for sale, with an average asking price of €140,000 or around €1,800 per square metre. The market's been fairly stable in Lanjaron in terms of the number of properties available, but there are some specific movements and trends in the Lanjaron area. We'll come on to those in a moment. Moving over to Lecrin Valley, this month we'll have a look at Pinos del Valle, where there were 22 properties available for sale, with an average asking price of €191,000 or around €1,159 per square metre. The property market's been fairly stable in the whole area over the last few months, coming off the back of 2021, where we saw a record number of house sales. This has continued into January and February this year. So what's happening overall? Well, in Orgiva, we've seen a decrease in the number of properties available. The available stock is starting to reduce, but there's no shortage in the demand from buyers. So is this going to have an impact on prices? Well, at the moment, we'll need to wait and see. It is certainly moving in particular styles of property, and that is a general trend overall. In Lanjaron, whilst there is still the same number of properties available, what we've seen is new properties coming to the market that are priced right with the right marketing are actually selling quite quickly. There are, however, a particular style of older property for reform, particularly with sort of 1960s style kitchens, bathrooms, etc., which is just not attracting demand at the moment. In Pinos del Valle, we're seeing a similar thing. Townhouses which are in a good Scandi style are certainly getting a lot of interest at the moment. However, properties for reform which are tired and dated, there just isn't the demand. And part of the reason for this is due to the building costs that are involved nowadays. The cost of building materials has gone up exponentially over the last, certainly the last 12 months, to the point where some building materials are twice the price that they were 12 months ago. This is having an impact in terms of the investment that people want to make and the time and the trouble that they'd need to go to reform a property, when actually if it's not priced correctly, for the same amount of money you can buy one already done. So what would be the advantage of buying one that needs a lot of time and work and effort spent on it? Which moves us on to some other property news. In particular, this is around the demand that we have seen. Looking at different regions and countries where our buyers come from, starting with the Brits, we've actually seen in the last month a 22% increase in inquiries from the Brits. Now, why might this be? Are they suddenly flooding back to the market? Well, kind of in a way, yes. The main reason seems to be that the concerns over Brexit and being able to get visas and live here has subsided now, because after a year or over a year now of that being the norm, people are starting to understand the process, how to go about it. There are lots of companies out there that can help with this process as well. Now, for most home buyers in this area, the changes, particularly regarding income, haven't made a significant impact because they already had the income to be able to be purchasing a property and wanting to live here full time, usually retiring to the area. What that's meant is, as the understanding around the paperwork has become simplified, if you like, as people know what's needed, this has meant that there's more people applying to get visas to move over here. So we've certainly seen a big increase in the number of Brits looking in the Lecrin Valley, Orgiva, Lanjaron area for permanent homes. The holiday home market has not yet returned to where it was, partly impacted by the 90, 180 day rule. So the swallows, the people that used to come here and live for 6 months of the year, there is less demand for that market. However, smaller townhouses around the €60,000 mark, we're certainly seeing strong demand for those for holiday homes at the moment. So there is some of that market coming back. Interestingly, one of the other areas we're seeing a huge increase in demand from in the last few months is from Belgium and the Netherlands. Now, this is not unusual. It happens at this time of year as the winters are often long and drawn out in Northern Europe, whereas, well, I'm just looking out the window now and it's sunny Spain again after some well-needed rain. But it's often this time of year when people have been through a long drawn out winter that they are looking to move to southern Spain and enjoy a much nicer climate. And so Belgium and the Netherlands have been a strong increase in demand from buyers over the last quarter. The demand for Corticos continues to outperform all other sectors of the market. This goes back to what I was saying earlier in the facts and figures, that we've certainly seen, whilst the number of properties overall to the market is down, Corticos in particular, with such huge demand, are just not hanging around on the market. If they're priced correctly and marketed correctly, quite often they're going within days at the moment. We've seen a very strong demand for this, and there's no obvious sign that this is going to decline at the moment. So Corticos are outperforming the general marketplace. Townhouses, having suffered quite considerably during the COVID period, when everyone wanted outside space, townhouses took a real dive in terms of demand and also a bit of a hit on prices, to be fair. What we're starting to see is that demand starting to return for the right type of property. As I mentioned earlier, that's not currently properties for reform unless they're priced accordingly to take into account the increase in building material costs. But smaller townhouses are certainly seeing an increase in demand. It's the larger townhouses that are not really hitting the spot for buyer demand at the moment. It doesn't mean, however, that they're not sellable, and there is still a demand for them. It's just that it needs a very specific type of marketing to attract the very specific audience that require them. In terms of the overall stock levels, because that is falling, we are seeing prices starting to increase, and certainly over recent months, with the euro being under pressure from many currencies, particularly the US, where we've seen an increase in demand of nearly 7% in the last month, and the UK in particular, where there's still a strong percentage of buyers in the area from there, but with the pound being very strong against the euro, this is meaning that buyers from the US and the UK in particular have much more buying power in their pocket, whilst remaining the same amount of money that they're spending in their own currency. It's really important to have a good understanding of how currency fluctuations work and the impact that they have on the market in the local area. So overall, how's the market looking going forward into March? Well, we're looking at a new spring market. As I mentioned earlier, this is where we start to see a lot of buyers coming in from Northern Europe in particular at the end of the long winter. Usually we start to hit half-term times also, and with Easter coming up next month, that's a traditionally busy time for a lot of people to put their plans into action. Here we're certainly expecting demand to continue and very much so for particular types of property, such as Corticos, as I've mentioned earlier. So the outlook at the moment is looking reasonably good for the property market. World events could of course have a significant impact on that, and certainly our thoughts here go out to everybody in Ukraine. This is a terrible thing for the world, and we fully support the Ukrainian people in this difficult time. That's all there is to say on the property market this month. Don't forget to subscribe and click the like button and the notification bell to find out about more information on your local property market. There's a lot more videos coming very soon. Thank you for watching, and as ever, if you have any comments or want to know answers to any questions, don't hesitate to pop them in the comments below and we will answer them for you. Thanks for watching. I'm Matthew Wood. Goodbye for now.